hello there and welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscription is and always will be absolutely free. And welcome to our garden. Look at this lovely, yet again, miserable overcast day, although it is quite mild and it's not raining and the wind isn't blowing a gale. So all things told, it's still quite good. Anyway, in this video, we're going to be talking about what jobs you should be looking at doing in your exotic garden in April. So what I'm going to do is going to have a little walk around, point out the things that I'm doing, and hopefully it will have some relevance as to what you want to be doing. So we're all very busy. Let's have a little look around, see what I've been up to. Sorry about that, my face stopped working for a moment due to old age. Right, now the first thing I'll look at is these European fan palms, these Chamois humilis. And if you've got these, then you'll know this, the old dreaded black or brown spot here, which is a fungus that causes this damage to the cells and the death little spots here. Now, we don't want to keep these on, I want to take these off, so make sure if you see these, get yourself your secateurs, your trusty secateurs that need oiling. Let me just get that open, hold on. There you go, probably also need a little bit of a clean. But you see this, take that back right to where that joins the trunk. Then you burn it or put that in the green waste bin, and any others you've got the black dots on as well, take those off, because if you leave them on, then any sort of fungal spores that are produced here can spread onto the other leaves. It's an absolute pain in the ass. There's only one thing really you can do to manage this, and that is to grow your Chamois hard. And by hard I mean make sure you don't overwater and make sure you don't over fertilise them, because you don't want to produce a load of lush new growth. You want it just to grow at its normal rate as it would do in its native habitat of North Africa and Europe. So as you've done that on, what's the next job to look at? That would be these Musa juice here, the Japanese or hardy banana. And you see on the hull, it would just put out its leaf with no problem at all. But occasionally you get this, you get it where the old leaf is kind of wrapped around the new leaf that's coming through. So you've got two choices. You can either try and spend time unwrapping all of this old leaf so that the whole leaf can unfurl and start acting as a leaf. Either do that or do what I'm going to do, and that is cut it. Right, so once that's cut, this will naturally unfurl. I'll be honest with you, it's not going to do it any harm. And really, these first sort of leaves, they're not going to last very long, and they're all the big leaves coming through straight after. See that greenhouse? Well, that greenhouse, that needs to be emptied and cleaned so I can start putting in new plants. So in order to get that empty, I need to do this thing. And that is to get all the plants that were in the greenhouse hardened off to outside conditions. So we've got there's a white strelitzia here, we've got a strelitzia regina there, well, both bird of paradises, that you'll be familiar with that one, and then a load of sort of like cacti that we start putting out in order to fancy around little parts of the garden. But you can't just put them straight out into full sun, because the ultraviolet light from the sun's rays will scorch the epidermis of the plant. So anything that's on the outside, the top of the leaves, all that surface layer of that plant are prone to being scorched and damaged by the sun rays. And yes, it is exactly the same thing as would happen to you if you were living in the UK with these lovely overcast days, and then suddenly you think, do you know what, I'm going to go straight out to Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt, do a little bit of sunbathing. You're going to be burnt to a cinder because your skin, your lovely skin, has not built up any resistance using melanin to the exposure to the sun's ultraviolet rays. And you may ask Simon, you say, Simon, well, it's in the greenhouse and the sunlight hits it then, why is that not a problem? I'll tell you why. Because as light passes through the glass, changes the wavelength, the ultraviolet light tends to move to the red aspect of the light, and it doesn't scorch it. Very clever. These greenhouse people, they knew what they were doing when they were making these. Now this plant here, you probably recognise it. This is a tree fern, the old Dicksonia antarctica. It's the only tree fern that will really tolerate our cold temperatures here in the UK. But I'm hoping now we're into April, that the late frosts kind of come to an end and overnight temperatures shouldn't be so low that we're going to start getting damage in the crown. Now what I want to do now is to help kickstart all these new frond growth and get them growing out as strongly and as healthy as they possibly can, as well as try and get out more or subsequent fern growth coming through. So in order to do that, we need to do a little bit of spring maintenance. We'll be showing you a little bit about that. but not too much, because we went into spring maintenance in quite a lot of detail in a recent video. And what I'll do is I'll put the link for that video in the description for this video so you can find it. Anyway, assuming that there are no further freezing temperatures, this is what we're going to do with this one. So this one here has come out of its winter storage quite well. So it's all been wrapped up in some fleece, and then we had a little bag on top just in case it got far too cold. And I know we've unwrapped it. So this is what we've got. We've got a few dead fronds. 1, 2. The rest of them, do you know what? Considering we did go down to -5, they are not looking too bad. But this isn't the important bit. The important bit is down here where the crown is. And can you see that? Can you see that? Oh, yeah, stupid leaf bounce blocking the view. You see those new curled up fronds in there now, which look a little bit like an upside down tarantula. You see a little bit of green on there? See a little bit of green? This tells me that these are all alive and are waiting to sort of like pop out, unfurl, and replace these old ones. Now, these old ones are going to keep it, because while they've got green pigment in them, that means they've got chlorophyll in them. And that means when the light's on them, these are photosynthesizing, producing sugars and starches, which will feed the growth from here. So once it's been unwrapped, I want to get some water in here. I want to water the whole thing. I want to water the crown, the trunk, and the base. Then I want to give it a feed. I want to give it like a nice double dose feed of Miracle Grow right in the top here. But you only do that after you've thoroughly watered it. And I'll take these off. Don't need these old ones. Try not to cut anything important. And that one. And really, we could just keep these on. It's good to keep these old fronds on, because what happens is they, as the new fronds come through, they just get pushed out, and helps to keep the trunk wide. You often see with these tree ferns a shrunken trunk, and no one wants that. So if you can keep the old fronds on for as long as you can, do so, because it will make your trunk look the curve of your trunk will be impressive. Flipping heck. Okay, enough smart, I promise. And no, I'm not drinking on the job, but this does point me to my next job for April, and really this is for everybody, and that is the curse of the snails, and specifically the slugs. If you look around your garden, as I'm about to show you, we have a lot of slug damage, and we need to deal with it with beer. Look at that little buckets on there, look, you can see their slime trails. You can't get away with it. I know slugs have been on this. You've been warned. Slugs have also been here, and over here, and loads more over here. So what do? We use a trusty beer trap, often sold as a slug pub, but that is a misnomer, because you can't just put any old alcohol in the beer trap, because it really only likes a yeasty smelling drink, which is your bitters. You know, so get yourself a decent bitter, so it smells, put that in there, fill it up at halfway to the top, to the bottom, and put it near where your plants are at risk, and do that, and it should solve a lot of your problems. Check this out. Yeah, you've got nowhere to turn. Now, beginning of April brings with it the beginning of the warm weather, so it's kind of your last opportunity to start dividing any of your fancy herbaceous exotic plants, or by purchasing any of your new summer flowering bulbs, because to be fair, the longer you wait to buy your bulbs, and they will be available to buy really up until about June in some cases, they just deteriorate in condition. They dry up and they do not perform very well. So really this is about the last sort of opportunity you got to get some good quality stock, get in the ground. Second thing, herbaceous plants, you can't leave it too late. You know, really you want to start lifting and dividing before they start putting out, or once they start to shoot, you want to lift and divide them. You don't want to leave them too long, because then the plant is growing too strongly, and you start cussing it around, and it will really affect the plant. It doesn't do any good. Can just hold it back. What I'm trying to say is a word. It escapes me. Old age. Anyway, let me show you what we've just moved. Now, if you saw in one of our recent videos that we had a problem with this Persicaria that had moved its way into the lawn. Anyway, so we've dug it up, lifted it, we've put it out the front, we kept the root ball as intact as we possibly can, moved it over here, watered it in, and that really should romp away over the next few weeks. Now this giant leaf hosta that's emerging now, this was a much bigger specimen last year, although to be fair, it was really big the year before, and we lifted up this, cut it in half, and now we have this another beast in the garden just over here. So easy to do. I mean, look at the size of that. You could genuinely get about 4 plants out of that, and it just grows. It just grows so well. It's like it likes being cut in half. Yeah, and there's no dinner until you got that job done. Anyway, with April and the warmer weather, the incidence of pests and diseases, especially fungicides and aphids, increases as temperatures rise. So you want to make sure that you always have at hand, immediately at hand, a decent fungicide, a decent insecticide. You also need to be checking pretty much every time you get into the garden. Always have a look around, make sure that everything looks healthy. Keep an eye out for any kind of insect damage. You know, the plants will tell you if there's a problem, but if you find it too late, you don't have the required chemicals to treat it, and you've got to take a special drive out to the garden centre when it's open, come back and apply it. You're losing valuable time, and you know, certain pests, certain fungal infections can destroy a plant within a matter of days, so you've got to be on the ball. So make sure you've got everything you need to manage those pesky plant pests and diseases. I didn't say stop working. Get on with it. Anyway, over here, as you can see, we have the hardening off of the cactuses and other plants in the greenhouse, and this reminds me that at this time of year, just before they start to grow, because they are growing, look the lovely bunny ears in here, it's worth considering this. Is it time to start repotting these up into a larger pot? Because believe me, growth will accelerate if it's got fresh compost, and it really is worth doing. So that is a timely job for the spring. Also, don't forget that now is the time to start sowing your fancy tropical and subtropical annuals. Yes, marigolds are fancy. And the last job to do is to clean and sterilize and empty your glass house, so that you've kind of eradicated as best you can any pests and disease and fungal infections that may be in there and may subsequently land on your new seedlings once you've planted your fancy seeds. Marigolds. Right, so cue the ending music. And anyway, that is all I have to say on that. But if you have any excellent ideas, any jobs, anything that you think we should be doing in our gardens at this time of year, we would like to hear from you. Just put your thoughts in the comment section. And that's it, really. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.